Communications on event day. If you have a question, concern, or just want to take a break, just talk to your block leader throughout the event. There's going to be a leader on every block. You can recognize them because they'll have a little lanyard. So it's a little sort of badge that they're wearing, kind of like a necklace. Now, if there's a bigger issue or you're worried about something and you want to talk to somebody higher up, you can always flag down a zone leader. They are wearing red shirts, easy to recognize, and the zone leaders deal with more emergencies type situations, not necessarily a break, but let's say somebody hurt themselves. Whether it be a cut or a bruise, you want to flag down a zone leader so that we can deal with that. Zone leaders are the only volunteers that have radio access. So anytime somebody hurts themselves, it's a zone leader you want to go to because we'll be able to coordinate with first aid responders and ambulance if need be. General volunteer role. Well, we try to be fun and happy and active, so make sure to share your positive energy and vibes with participants. If you're having fun, they will too. Event day leadership. I made some mention to this, but let's go over it again for fun. You're going to have some leadership throughout your shift. Like I said previously, every block has at least one leader on it, and they'll have 2 block leaders per zone, and you'll also have a committee member helping, and they're the ones that are wearing a red shirt. Here's what that might look like. So we have our block leader in a purple shirt with a red lanyard, and then we have our red shirt committee member. So let's get into the roles and responsibilities. The team. So setup crew, from 7 to 8 a.m., you're going to be learning how to chalk paint, reviewing planograms, and then just getting out there and decorating the route. At 8 a.m., I'm going to have some helping hands facilitate the info tent setup. So you want to make sure that if you're doing a decoration activity prior to 8 a.m., that you give yourself some time to wrap that up and make your way down to your designated info tent. You might just be on float too and helping others as needed. It just depends on how setup's going throughout the route. So you might start out in zone 1 with very clear specific role, and maybe that wraps up in 15 minutes, and then you'll be doing maybe some tent setup in the downtown. It just depends on where we're at with setup. It's a very fluid sort of thing. Here's an example of what planograms look like. These are so much fun. So you'll have a photo or a screen grab of exactly where a decoration or some signage needs to be, and then just a little bit of instruction with a list of all the things you'll have in your kit to get that done. So street teardown roles. If you signed up to just help with teardown at the end of events, you're going to want to make sure you're at an info tent for 3 p.m. Place all of the Pulse event gear at the curb. Don't place it willy-nilly in the street because we're going to be picking it up later. And before you know it, the street will be open to car traffic again at 4 p.m. So you'll be helping tear down all over the zones as needed. And then between 4 and 5 p.m., you're going to help with loading up a cube van and unloading the cube van at the DVIA. Info tent assistant. This is a really fun role. You're going to be that face for Pulse. A lot of people will come to the info tent with inquiries, and you might be the first person they see at Pulse. So you'll be answering participant questions as needed. It's okay if you don't have an answer. There's always block leaders and zone leaders to help. You might also be filling a no-show as necessary. So an info tent, we really just need one person. We try to prepare ourselves and have 2, but in the event somebody's not there, we can pull it off with 1 info tent assistant. And so just a breakdown of what you're actually doing at the info tent, you'll be administering activity waiver bracelets. You might be wondering, what's an activity waiver bracelet? That's a good question. Some activities at Pulse are a little bit more higher risk. They could involve maybe some working out or heart rate increase, or maybe they just seem a little bit dangerous, like say Peterborough Axe Club. So what we try to do to sort of eliminate the burden that we put on activity leaders for administering their waivers is that as an additional location, participants can pick up a waiver at the info tent. So once a participant signs one waiver, they sign for all, and they then receive a wristband. And so you're going to be that second spot or third spot where people can get their waiver signed and receive a bracelet. You'll also be the space for handling lost and found. So you might get people coming up to you with random objects, being like, I found this. And so once you receive something, you'll set it aside and put it in the lost and found bin. And then hopefully, if a participant's looking for, say, a lost item, they'll come to you and you'll look like a hero. You'll also be assisting with lost and found for children and parents. If someone goes missing, the first place they might go to is the info tent. So you might be that first point of contact. We have a whole process for missing persons, which I'll go over in the second video about emergency plan. Make sure you watch that. Now we're moving on to road marshals and greeters. Road marshals look after hard closed streets. They get a really cool, fashionable safety vest along with their Pulse shirt. And they assist with entrance and exit of authorized vehicles. So what does that mean? If somebody tries to enter the route and you are managing a barricade, your job would be to greet that vehicle person and say, hey, hello, just so you know, we're having an event right now. And hopefully they'll be able to just, turn around and they don't need to go onto the route. If it's local traffic and they definitely need to get onto the route, what you're going to do is set the barricade aside and walk with them to whatever location they need to be. And the reason why we walk with the car is so that we can control how fast that car is going. And so once you've completed that role and the car has gotten to its location and is now back off the route, you're going to return back to your barricade and just manage it as needed. You'll also be playing the role of greeter. You might be the first point of contact that people receive to Pulse. They might have just wandered onto Pulse. And so when you see a participant or if they have a question about what the event is, make sure that you greet them with a smile and say, welcome to Pulse and have fun, because it's a really fun day. And I think when you're meeting these participants, they might have some questions. So at those barricades, there'll be some indicators of where fun things are on the left or right. So you can always sort of reference that if you're not sure about other specific activities. Okay? Feedback collectors. This role is really fun. You kind of pretty much just roam your zone with a big sandwich board and collect sticky dots from participants. You'll be working alongside a merrymaker. We'll get into that role in a minute. But essentially, you want to find out why people came to Pulse and what were they doing that day. This sort of feedback allows us to clearly understand the type of participants that come out to Pulse, where they live, and it also helps us create a better Pulse every year. So it's very important to get feedback. We also have a little clipboard to gather testimonials, and you'll help out with our participant counts that happen throughout the day. Merrymakers spread fun and enjoyment, and they also help make the feedback process seem a little bit more engaging. So let's say a family comes up to a feedback collector and the little ones are feeling a little bit, let's say, bored. A merrymaker can help play bubbles with them. Or you could just use your bubble making skills to engage participants to come and engage in the feedback process as they see fit.